Ogoniland, the federal government has commissioned 4 additional water projects. The projects are in Bodu, Ogweobo, Tabo, and Etuyo local government communities in Gogana, Ghana, and Eleme local government areas of Rivers State. Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, who led the commissioning in Bodo, urged residents to take ownership of the facilities and protect them from vandalism. Enietie Patrick has details.
The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, says the project reaffirms the government's commitment to the full implementation of the United Nations Environment Programme report on Ogoni to deliver clean water, justice, and development to communities long affected by environmental degradation.
We are looking at training, we are doing remediation and other aspects that relate to the communities involved. So as we celebrate this milestone, I present on Bodo, Udoba, Taba, and they to take ownership of these facilities, ensure proper use, safeguard them against vandalism, and collaborate with APEC to maintain their functionality. So we must own this project.
The high point of the event was the inauguration of the Gokana area office by the Minister of Environment, which he said will strengthen community relations. He also directed cook stoves to reduce mangrove deforestation. Enietie Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Sokoto State has criticized the arrest of former governor and serving senator Aminu Tambuwal by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, describing it as a political move to weaken the opposition. In a statement issued this morning by the party's publicity secretary, Azan Sani Nawal, the PDP claimed the arrest was part of a bigger plan by the All Progressive Congress-led federal government to intimidate political opponents and crush the growing resistance to President Bola Tinubu's administration. The party describes EFCC's investigation as a fishing expedition based on an old case that has failed to produce evidence in the past. 5 indigents of Rivers State have dragged the federal government, the sole administrator of the state, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete-Ibas, and the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission to the Federal High Court, Abuja, seeking to halt plans to conduct local government elections on August the 30th. The plaintiff, Frederick Edede, Benita Samuel, Jane Madubike, Buma Ago, and Comfort Agbo said the state government under Ibas had fixed the dates despite the subsistence of a state of emergency. Through their counsel, Sunday Ezema, they argued that the Rivers State government under Ibas had announced the election dates while the state was still under emergency rule declared earlier this year by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Professor Matthew Adamu has formally assumed office as the acting Vice-Chancellor of Yakubu Gowon University, Abuja, formerly University of Abuja, succeeding Professor Patricia Mangola, who conducted a 6-year tenure. Speaking during the handover ceremony, Professor Adamu called for unity and support from the university community to help steer the institution towards stability, describing his role as transitional. Adamu likened his appointment to that of a midwife. The federal government has recorded a milestone in digital learning as the Universal Basic Education Commission, in partnership with Korean International Cooperation Agency, has rolled out a groundbreaking smart education initiative. The project introduced modern learning tools and teaching capacity building across public primary and junior secondary schools. Our correspondent Priscilla Obasi was there for Global Television.
The closing ceremony of the Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) and Korea International Cooperation Agency (KYOCA) Smart Education Project was held at the Universal Basic Education Commission's Digital Center in Abuja, showcasing a 3-year initiative aimed at transforming basic education in Nigeria through technology and innovative teaching. In her remarks, Executive Secretary of Universal Basic Education Commission, Aisha Garba, celebrated the project's successes, which include development of Nigeria's first smart education master plan, establishment of 6 content development studios, creation of almost 4,000 digital science and math lessons, and the setup of 21 operational smart schools benefiting over 8,000 pupils.
We have taken advantage of introducing technology in our classrooms through what we call the Smart School model.
Industry leaders at the event included Tak Namgung, representing Korea's ambassador Kim Pyeokgyu, via the public diplomacy section of Korean Embassy.
Independent assessments show that students in those smart schools are performing better in mathematics and science. Nigeria's young people are brimming with potential, creativity, and resilience.
Global Television spoke with the principal of the Smart School in Abuja, who shared insight on the project's impact.
What we are doing is digital, where you teach a child through the tablet, computer. You give them assignments through Google Classroom. Even if they are at home, they can do the assignment, and you as a teacher, you're monitoring them. The admission is open to everybody.
The event underscored its far-reaching impact, reaching 3 million learners, distributing hundreds and thousands of learning materials, and removing long-standing bottlenecks to funding. It signaled the dawn of a new era for digital literacy in Nigeria's education system. In a major stride forward, Korea International Cooperation Agency, KYOCA, and Universal Basic Education, UBEG's partnership has laid the foundation for a broader rollout with the ultimate goal of establishing one smart school in each of Nigeria's 774 local government areas. Priscilla Obasi, reporting for Global Television News.
The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has announced that a total of 449,039 students have so far benefited from its student loan scheme since its portal launched on May the 24th, 2024. In its latest report release, it says the scheme has disbursed a total of over 86 billion naira as of August the 6th, 2025, saying its disbursements included over 47 billion naira paid directly to 218 institutions as tuition fees and over 38 billion naira given to students as upkeep allowances. It was a night of glamour, unity and celebration as political heavyweights and notable figures converged in Abuja to mark the 50th birthday of Ugwumba Uche Nwosu, son-in-law to former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha. The Golden Jubilee drew Nigeria's most influential leaders cutting across party lines. Our correspondent Kikolomo Okere reports.
From the National Assembly to political arena, dignitaries arrived in style to honor Ugwumba Uche Nwosu on his golden milestone. In attendance were Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Benjamin Kalu, former Senator Dino Melaye, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, and former President of the Senate Ayim Pius Ayim. They all hailed Ugwumba Uche Nwosu as a visionary leader, philanthropist, and a bridge builder whose impact spanned politics and society. Also gracing the occasion was his father-in-law, former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, and his beloved wife, Onoma Uche Nwosu, alongside other top political and business figures from across the country.
really honored to share this moment with our friend, our brother, and an upcoming leader, Chief Uche Nwosu. It is my prayer that the Almighty will continue to sustain him.
He's a good in-law, a good man, a philanthropist, a peaceful man, and I'm just happy that the world is seeing what I saw many years ago.
Of joy. I mean, we are grateful to God Almighty, and we celebrate him. Uche is a wonderful person. You know?
The evening featured heartfelt tribute, music, and a display of unity that transcends political affiliation.
Started showing interest just in my first year of university. He's been my friend, and from being my friend he became a husband, and he's still my husband. And I tell you, Uche has a beautiful heart. I call him my love. He's a fantastic father, and I'm glad I chose to do that with you.
In his remark, the celebrant expressed deep gratitude to God, his family, and all well-wishers for making the day a memorable one.
Feel elected, happy. If I say I'm mesmerized, it's no understatement. If I say I'm flabbergasted, it's no overstatement. I am really bamboozled with what I'm seeing here today. I thank God for my life. I thank God for my friends and my colleagues and those who were able to put this up for me. I'm grateful to them. I'm happy with them. I will ever remain grateful to them.
This Golden Jubilee was a more than a birthday. It is a celebration of legacy, leadership, and lasting influence, surrounded by family, friends, and political icons. Ugumba Uche Nwosu's 50th was a testament to lives he has touched and the bridges he continues to build. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Tension is mounting once again in Yawata community, Benue State, after another deadly attack in the early hours on Monday left 3 people dead. Our correspondent Felicity Ndere reports. The militaries.
Eyewitnesses said the gunman struck just before dawn, barely 2 months after a previous assault that claimed hundreds of lives and displaced thousands. The renewed violence has left residents in fear and on edge. In response, women and other locals poured into the streets in protest, blocking major roads and bringing traffic to a standstill. In a show of anger and grief, they placed the bodies of the victims on the highway, vowing that no vehicle would pass until soldiers stationed in the area are withdrawn, accusing them of failing to protect the community. Military helicopters, armed soldiers, and police have since moved in to restore order, but protesters insist they will not leave until the governor addresses them directly and urgent action is taken to stop the killings. On social media, Joseph Jew, head of media and publicity for the internally displaced person in the area, released the names of the victims as families mourn in search for those still missing. The people of Yelwata are now urging government and security agencies to break what they call a vicious circle of bloodshed and insecurity before more lives are lost.
The military says it has neutralized more than 100 terrorists during coordinated airstrike followed by ground assault and clearance in Makakari Forest of Bukuyum, local government area of Zamfara State. The development occurred in the early hours when military aircraft and relentless advance of ground troops signaled the beginning of an operation that would leave over 100 bandits dead, their motorcycles burnt, and their stronghold in ruin. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns, Italian athletes died at World Games in China. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. In business, the federal government, through the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulation Commission, ranked in 5.21 trillion from the sale of crude oil, gas, and other economic activities in the first 6 months of 2025. It said the revenue inflow represents 42.7% of the record 12.2 trillion it generated in the entire 2024 fiscal year. The figure, however, represents only 34.7% of the 15 trillion revenue targets set by the federal government for the Commission to meet and implement the 2025 budget. The revenue was derived from royalties, gas sales, fled gas penalties, and joint venture proceeds. As the economy tightens and bills pile up, more Nigerians are finding creative ways to make ends meet. Side hustle, once seen as optional, is now becoming a necessity. A second job that could make the difference between merely surviving and living comfortably. Kabir Hassan completes the report.
In today's Nigeria, one job is really enough to meet daily needs. More and more people are turning to side hustles, not for extra cash, but for a vital part of their survival. Today we are in the street of Abuja to hear what Nigerians can say about the importance of side hustle.
With the rising cost of living and limited job openings, side hustle has become more than just extra income. They are now survival strategy for many young Nigerians. From online businesses to creative trades, the youth are redefining work in face of economic hardship. Across selection of people interviewed on the benefit of side hustles, say such hustles provide financial stability, skill development, and independence. Some believe it's not just a choice but a necessity in the current economic climate.
Over 70% of Nigerians youth are unemployed. Is a concern.
Side hustle is very important because it helps standardize your finances. It gives you a financial edge over the economy.
Side hustle is important because as a Nigerian, if you don't have a side hustle, you'll be left at the side.
Experts recommend side hustle for youth, stressing the need for discipline, proper time management, and continuous skills improvement. They advise young people to start small, remain consistent, and avoid ventures that could compromise their main career.
Side hustle is very important. All I'm saying is side hustle is advisable.
Definitely, because you have to in other countries you can do 2-3 jobs. In Nigeria you can't just rely on one, so you have to do side hustle.
What do you mean by side hustling? If it is not something that is against the law, if it's a legitimate business that you know that it will be productive to your life, and besides that,
they have to find the techniques, creativity to help their self.
Still on the streets, many people advise youths to choose side hustles that match their skills and passions rather than chasing quick money. They also advise those hustling to ensure proper planning, financial discipline, and balancing the hustle with main job or educational qualification.
People are trying to make money in Nigeria, they are hustling. If there is government that help them to intervene for small scheme.
For all Nigerians, irrespective of your age difference, look for something aside your dream job to keep you.
The side hustle has moved from the background to the center stage of their financial lives, and with the rising showing no signs of slowing. it seems that extra job will remain a necessity for the foreseeable future. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
On the foreign scene, Boko Haram terrorists have sowed terror among those living around Lake Chad for some 15 years. Surrounded by Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria, the lake's countless islands serve as hideouts for the Islamist militants. Major General Ibrahim Salu Ali, the Commander-in-Chief of the Multinational Joint Task Force, says the islands isolate the terrorists from the outside, making it difficult for the military to reach them. Zaura Nazir reports.
Surrounded by Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria, Lake Chad's countless small islands serve as hideouts for the Islamic militants whose violent campaign began in Nigeria's northeast before spilling into its neighbors. Jihadist attacks have surged in the wider Sahel region, though Boko Haram has lost ground to the army in the Lake Chad area. Major General Godwin Mutkut, the first commander of the Multinational Joint Task Force, says the aerial bombardment has not been effective in neutralizing terrorists around the Lake Chad.
The reason why the Boko Haram terrorists hibernate on the island, because it isolates them from the outside, thereby making it very difficult for the military to reach them. That's their thinking. And so there are times we do bomb them from the air, but it's not too effective.
Major General Mutkut, who highlighted the challenge posed by the size of the Lake Chad, also said vast amount of resources is needed to tackle the terror threat in the area.
And as I told you, 800 islands. It's quite huge, quite big. And so we need a lot of troops to engage in this kind of operations.
The United Nations says in Chad's Lak province alone, more than 250 people have been forced to flee their homes. Zahra Nasser reporting for Global TV News.
Israel keeps pounding Gaza. 5 more Palestinians, including 2 children, have starved to death in the enclave, according to the health ministry, rising the total number of hunger-related deaths to 227, including 103 children. Palestinians have held funerals for 5 Al Jazeera journalists assassinated by Israel in Gaza, as protesters rallied around the world against the killing, including in London, Berlin, Tunis, and Ramallah. In sports, the All Progressive Congress youth leader, Dayo Israel, has urged Nigerian youth to embrace sports not just for recreation, but as a pathway to career success and a strategic tool in the fight against crime and unemployment. He made the remark during a community event built around one of the football's biggest showdown. Aniyetie Patrick reports.
It was a lively atmosphere at the Nest Resource Center in Abuja, venue of the 2025 Community Shield viewing party. Football fans, youth stakeholders, and members of the National Assembly gathered to watch Liverpool take on Crystal Palace. The APC youth leader Dayo Israel said beyond the goals and penalties, the focus was a bigger goal, using sports to steer young Nigerians away from restiveness and crime.
You can't separate youth and sport. Youth and sport is very critical. And that's why every government has a Ministry of Youth and Sport, or a Ministry of Youth and a Ministry of Sport. But youth and sport are synonymous, and the goal is that young people can use sport as a means to channel their energy, as a means to be able to build peace, as a means to be able to improve their talent, develop themselves, and also for economic prosperity. And so we understand the importance of sport.
Israel encouraged youths, regardless of political affiliation, to take advantage of facilities at the Youth Hub in the FCT to network, play games, and participate in activities designed to improve their lives and offer an escape from daily struggles.
With our first Sport Viewing Center, we're going to be bringing young people together every week to, watch games together, interact, network, use that opportunity to build collaborations, and have engagement around sports and politics, football and politics. We also have a table tennis corner here. We have a snooker corner here. We have some native games like Ludo and all of that. For people can come in the afternoon with their friends, network, have some drinks and play games together.
Crystal Palace eventually lifted the trophy after defeating Liverpool on penalties, a victory that capped a day of football, fellowship, and a renewed call to make sports a tool for national development. Anie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
That's it on Global TV Midday News. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using Global TV NG. I am Ubong Usoro. Thanks for watching.